that I've lost in the organization as well as out. And it is, they want to say it's not an epidemic, but as far as I'm concerned, it is.
How have you seen race relations change since you've been a member?
In the organization or outside?
Either or both?
Well, I think we're doing, as far as race relationship in the United States, I think we're backsliding. Ever since the Reagan years, you know, he was harping on that it's an equal playing field, but if nobody picks you for the team, you know, it's not an equal playing field. And I've noticed, like, I went to here in Los Angeles, I went to At the Beach, and we were at the Hilton Hotel, and all the bartenders in the hotel, now this was a black gay gathering, and not a black person was a bartender, and I just think that's indicative of how we've come far, but we still got a ways to go. And I think sometimes when we go to these organizations, just like what John Bush says, when we go to these hotels, say we want to see some people of color or other nationalities or races. Now they did have some Asians. They did have some Asians, but there wasn't any blacks.
How have you seen race relations change, if any, within the organization itself? Do you think that's changed the organization?
I think, I still think that we are going, well, let me see. Yes, I think it's helped. For one thing, I'm an older black gay man, and I have related to my white brothers and also my black brothers experiences that I've had coming up, especially in growing up in Indianapolis, Indiana. And the only difference from Indiana when I was coming up than Mississippi, that it was across the Mason-Dixon line, because we had just as much segregation and races and bias as any southern state. By relating my experiences to white people, and I always say this to white people, there's no way on God's green earth you can understand what I went through, or you can understand. Now you might say, I think I do, but until you find somebody spitting at you and telling you to get off the street and calling you racist names, including police officers, it's an experience that stays with you the rest of your life. But I will say one thing about being discriminated against or biased against and turned away. It made me be a better gay person due to the fact that I can take rejection better. Nobody takes rejection really good, but I can take it a lot better than if I'd been. But I think by me telling the other members within the organization about my racial experiences coming up, I think it makes them better understand what I went through and how racism is in America.
So it's fair to say that you believe that being a black man has affected your experiences within the organization as well as...
Oh, yes, yes.
How do you think it has?
Well, there's a lot of people who come in that they think because they passed that law back in 1964, you know, that especially the younger ones, they think that it's always been like it is today. Well, it hasn't. And I think on the white side, they think that discrimination is not as bad as they think it is. They think there's not carding. They think that when you go up there to a bar that everybody else gets in for $2 are free, and they want you to pay $6 because they've got the maximum amount of the black clientele they want in the club today. They don't see these little sidetrack innuendos that we as a black people face every day. And I think when we express these things in the workshops and in the rap sessions that they have locally, that it lets people aware that things still are going.
Well, in this regard, what do you think about the need for separate black and white caucuses in the organization? Some people, as you know, are saying, have always said that they're contrary to the spirit of the organization because they pull us apart rather than separate us. What's your view on that?
I'm for them because, as I told you, the first one that I went to was in New York in 1986, and we picked up a whole lot of stuff in the black caucus. I'm going to talk about the black caucus. We've shared a lot of personal stuff, personal information that we wouldn't want to share outside, and I'm not going to go into any specific details, but because it's supposed to be confidential. Whatever's brought in there stays in there, and it's not supposed to be brought out. As far as we've had black and white caucuses, and then to appease the people that says that we should have other caucuses, we've had multiracial or multicultural caucuses. And while they were disbanded, the multicultural was disbanded because nobody would attend it. So, you know, I always say people, the ones that go to the black caucus and the ones that go to the white caucus enjoy it. But I look at it this way, have them, but if there's everything in the convention, everybody's not going to attend. And I look at that's just one other, like a workshop that you can attend. Now, if people don't like it, don't go. And if enough people don't go, then they won't have them anymore. It's just like we got rid of the multicultural, multiracial. But the black is very well attended, and I assume the white is because caucuses are. And I just think that they're very emotional, and we need them. And I've enjoyed them because I've also expressed some life things that happened to me over time, which I'm not, my own personal opinion, I'm not free to tell everybody. But I know when I tell them, it's going to stay there, and it's very interesting, and educational, and emotional.
Well, something else that we know you've enjoyed is your role in the talent shows. You want to talk a little about the talent shows and what the talent show is? You've been a central figure for many years.
When at the conventions, they've always had some kind of talent, but it has never been organized. We had one, I think, the first one I went to was in Milwaukee in '87. They didn't have one in New York. I don't think they had one.
Well, John Bush did a dance, but that was
that was just that was where he wrote the board.
Yeah.
And then he had people to read poems, but it was just impromptu. We had one in Milwaukee. We had a masquerade in Boston. In '89, we had a talent show. We had a so-so talent show in San Francisco. And then when the convention came to Detroit in 1991, I was the entertainment chair, and they said, let's have a talent show. So I said, well, I'm only going to do it, so I'm going to go all out.
That was the first time you were involved.
That was the first time that I was involved in 1991. And I did a lot of things that I did a lot of things that I normally wouldn't do because they happened to be on my birthday also. It happened to be on my birthday, the night that they had the talent show. So I masked these group, I put sent applications out, and I had a very good response. We had very good response. I call it the No Talent Show because it's a play on words. It's to say that if you see people get up here, don't expect them to be professionals. But if they do get up here, give them the respect because they aren't supposed to be talented. They're just trying to entertain you. But over the years, we have got a whole lot of talented people in this organization. And I'm happy to say that everybody that has performed wonderfully, and they've given their all.
What are some of the more memorable performances or acts, I guess we'd say, that you can recall?
Oh, well, I think the acts I'd be talking about would be the ones that I did because I always thought mine were good, but I'm not. That'd be kind of.
What about Michael Warner's annual fundraiser?
Razorbuck. Yeah, Razorbuck. There was Razorbuck. Ken Allen came out and did 2 numbers, Patsy Cline and Madonna. And the outfit he wore was for his mother. He had a, this was in 1991, his mother's corset. And he wore that, and that was kind of, because when he came out, he didn't want anybody knowing. When he came out, nobody knew who it was. I did one, and Vincent Henderson was always a major stripper. And he passed away in '94, and I did a dance, a parody of a dance in memory of him, because he was always there. There's Preston Schumacher. Oh, I don't want to start naming names because I'm gonna leave some out and then they'll be pissed off at me. But right now I have a core of entertainers that I can depend on for every talent show. And also, and the Dallas, and it's been controversial, the talent show, because one time in Dallas, this was in 1992, this was the second year, we had all black dancers. And they talked about, you shouldn't have that, you should have some white dancers and all this other stuff. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you one thing about this. This is a volunteer organization. The talent show is volunteer. Now, if you want some white dancers, then why don't you pay out of your pocket to supply some white dancers? But if we don't get some white volunteers to do it, then we aren't going to have white dancers. So the next year, Michael McVeigh was the Great White Hope, because he danced in Chicago to quiet the critics that they didn't have some white dancers. So I thought that was kind of cute that he got up there and did that in 1993.
Do you want to give us some of your recollections of Madam X?
Oh, Madam X. Madam X is from Detroit, and she's performed on all the talent shows. Milwaukee, Tallahassee, San Francisco, and the one thing I remember about, she does these glorified numbers, and she doesn't do just one. She does show tune numbers, and she doesn't do just one. She wants to put 3 of them together. And so we let her perform the 3 together, and I remember in Detroit, she's going to kill me for saying this, but I don't care. Her slip got caught, and her heel got caught in the slip, and it pulled it off, and here she was in this big evening gown, and this strip, and this slip was hanging out behind her. and this, I'm not going to say what happened to her in Charlotte, but that was her last performance.
What about Chicago?
Oh, Chicago. Oh, we were at the Baton, and the show was supposed to start at 8 o'clock, and we thought we were going to be on at 2 hours. But unbeknownst to us, the entertainment chairman for Chicago didn't tell us that we had to be on stage at 9:30, because the Baton show started at 9:30, and they were starting regardless of when we were ready or not. So we didn't get the show started at 8:30, so I had to improvise, and I had to tell everybody instead of doing two numbers, you have to only do one. And some of the people, we weren't going to be able to get on the show, but after the banquet, we were going to set up at the the hotel.
Bismarck.
Oh, the Bismarck Hotel. We were going to have the rest of the show to make sure everybody was happy, and that worked out pretty fine. But when it came to Leroy's time to go, we told him he could only do one number.
Leroy is Madam X.
Oh, excuse me, that's right. Leroy is Madam X. I'm sorry. We told Madam X we could only do one number. He insisted on doing three. He didn't tell the DJ different. And then on top of that, behind the stage, he came to me and said, "You got to set me up." I said, "Leroy, you didn't tell me I had to set you up." I said, "You know we're on a tight schedule." He said, "But I have to have this table out there. I have to have the cigarette light. I have to have the candle lit and all this other stuff." So therefore, we were taking a precious time doing this. He started on the one number. He told the DJ, he says, "I turn the lights all out and let me lay on the floor. And then when you see me raise up, start the music." Well, the club was totally pitch black, so how in the hell is the DJ going to see it? So we flicked the cigarette lighter so the DJ could see him rise, and then the music started playing, and then he lit the cigarette, and the cigarette lighter wouldn't work. So therefore, he did the one number. He snuck the second number in. The third number, we went out there and physically took him off the stage. And his final words were, "Fuck you." And that was another nail in my coffin that he didn't care too much for me. But anyway, we're good friends now. But it was at the Charlotte was his last performance. That was in '97. In '98, Madam X was in attendance in drag at Fort Lauderdale, but he didn't perform, and I made sure that he was recognized as one of the long-term performers for the talent show.
You have probably the most recognizable or recognized nickname of anyone in this organization, Mr. Low Rent. Would you like to explain how you got that name?
Well,
remembering that this is for a family audience.
Then I think I'll just leave it alone. But anyway, this name got stuck on me back from a friend of mine in Toledo, Ohio. My lover at the time and I were we traveled a lot, and we met this friend in Toledo, and he knew that I was always doing little hanky-panky stuff, and he put that name on me, Low Rent, and he would say low rent and then swoop the floor, you know, but that sort of got lost in through the ages, and this happened back in the late 70s. So I've had that title. In fact, it's funny, most people don't know my real name, and they'll be talking about, says, "Do you know Paul Sears?" And they says, "No, I don't know who it is." They says, "Well, you talk to him all the time." And he says, "No, I don't know no Paul Sears." He says, "Well, there he is over there." He says, "You know, child, as long as I've known that child, I've only known him as Low Rent, and I never knew him his real name." So that's kind of funny.
What? How has being a member of this organization changed or affected your life?
Well, it's given me something to do over the years that I thought was good work, and it also, as I told you earlier, it helped me in being a leader, and it also helped me with my public speaking and getting up and talking in front of an audience. So it's been very educational for me, and I think if anybody, as I said earlier, I've done a lot of things in front of people, but getting up in front of talking or explaining myself in front of people was just no. But organization has given me the comfort zone that I can do that in. And also, even if I make mistakes or blunder, big deal. Nobody's perfect, and I most certainly am not.
What do you think is the NA's greatest accomplishment?
Oh, I think the NA's greatest accomplishment is a diverse group of people sitting down, talking about their experiences and trying to correct the injustices within our lives. I think that's.
What do you like best about the organization, and then what do you like least?
The best thing I've liked about this organization, I've met innumerable friends. There's not a city that I can't go into that I can't get, quote, quote, free housing. Because people I have met, and they've always said, Paul, we want you to come, or low rent, we want you to come and stay time with us. And what's really good about that is the trust factor. Because there's very few people that will give you their keys of their home to a stranger, So they feel enough comfort with me that they give me their keys and don't have to worry about it. In some cases they do. That's a personal joke between Doug and I, though, but we'll just leave that alone. But I do think that the camaraderie, the brotherhood, and the sexual life, too, has been very, very good with this organization.
What do you like least? Or is there a least?
Well, I think that the least is the complainers. I think, I don't mind people complaining, but I think the complainers, they don't give solutions. They can tell you what you don't do right, but they don't give you solutions to solve the problems or give alternatives. And that's the biggest gripe I have with the organization, inside the organization as well as outside.
What's your happiest recollection in the organization? You have one. Or several.
Yes, getting the Lifetime Achievement Award last year. I think that was other people before me have gotten it, and I just thought that was it was a shock. I wasn't expecting it, and I got up on the stage, and that's when I did get tongue-tied because I lost my train of thought, and I really wanted to thank a lot of people. Because the year before, coming back from Charlotte, I had a car accident, and it was pretty serious. I got kind of banged up and scratched up. But I had innumerable cards and letters, phone calls, and computer-made cards. And, of course, if they were made on the computer, they were very low rent, and they were. But it really made me feel good to hear these people calling that was worried about me, and it really made me feel good. And I'm not talking about one or two letters. I'm talking about many cards. It was just like Christmas. There were so many of them, and that really impressed me a lot. And I wanted to really say that when I got the Lifetime Achievement Award, this is what makes this organization great. That people respect you. Although I might be low rent, they still respect me as a person for who I am. And they also respect me for the work that I've done, and not for the work that I've done somewhere else, but what I've done in this organization.
What's your saddest recollection of the organization? What's been your saddest time?
I'm lost on status. What?
Saddest, unhappiest.
Oh, saddest. Oh, excuse me. I guess my
Not
saddest.
sadist.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I think the saddest part is all the friends I've lost. It's just immeasurable. You know, it's just so many friends that I've lost. And every time, you know, you go to a convention and you see them and they're real healthy, and then the next thing you know, they're on the memorial list, you know, and you didn't even know that they'd passed away. And I think that's the saddest.
Well, after all your time with the organization and on the board, and you've seen a lot of changes, what do you think is the future of this organization?
I think the organization still has a future, but we need to get more people committed to doing more. As I said earlier, if you don't like the way the thing's going, get on board. Become involved. Become a board member. Join a committee. Just do things, because the organization is only as strong as its weakest link. And also, because this is a volunteer organization and there's no paid staff. Every penny I spent, it came out of my pocket. It was money well worth spent. But I think the biggest problem is with the local chapters, they think the NA is they and we are them, and they don't get the connection that the NA, the National Association, cannot exist without the chapters. The chapters can exist without the NA, but the NA cannot exist without the chapters. And I think people need to get more involved of what the NA is, and the NA needs to inform, which we're working on a program now, Les is, to explain to the chapters what the NA does and does not do. And but I think people need to get more involved. Party time is good, but people still have to set up a party. You just don't pop your fingers and the drinks come in, the food comes in, and the place set up. It all takes organization, and that's the same thing with our organization. You need help.
Did it come out?
I don't know. Well, is there anything you'd like to add?
Okay. This was part of chapter development, and I just want to show you how organization and how getting help done can help with putting on a project. Ron Evans and I were the co-chairs for the regional in Indianapolis. It had never been done before where we had a regional where we didn't have a chapter. And we were going there to get the chapter restarted again in Indianapolis. And it's in its starting stages, and they're going through, they want to push the cart before the horse, but they're learning, and thank God for me that I'm there to help them. But getting back to starting the regional, I had 7 members from the farmer chapter, and I went to each one of them and I told them, I says, I've already opened my big mouth, and I said we're going to have the regional, the spring regional in Indianapolis, and I need your help. And it was real funny because these 7 people had told me adamantly before they didn't want anything to do with the NA. They were through with it. Because after their chapter folded, they were just burnt out and they were tired. So I went to each individual, not in a group basis, and asked them, I says, I need your help. We'd be happy to help you. All of them, nobody turned me down. And I'm not going to name their names, but by me living in Michigan,